Hey, we're The Comfort, and welcome to The Comfort Podcast. If you're new to us, we're an alternative rock band from Brisbane, Australia. I'm Dom, and I play bass and sing.
And I'm Liam, and I play guitar and sing.
So we wanted to start something to interact with you all a little bit more intimately and actually give you some insights into who we are outside of just our music. We haven't always been the best at self-promoting, showing who we are. We're just not super outgoing. That's just who we are. So Liam and I just love talking about ourselves and can't get enough of it. So this seemed like the perfect idea to share with you what we are and what the music's going to be from now on.
And exactly what the world needs is another two white guys doing a podcast. So that's what we're doing. So firstly, just a shout out to our sponsor, Colcon.
Oh my God.
That was a joke for about two people and myself that no one else would get. Tell Colin Dom sent you and you'll get no discount. So we've been on hiatus for, unfortunately, probably almost 2-3 years now. We've said it a million times. Almost quit, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, brings us to Friday, a couple days ago. We released our first new song, Love is a Dying Plant. Super stoked to have it out. Start this new era of the band. We have so much more to share. This is just like the entree before the main course. Maybe not even the entree. This is like when you show up to the restaurant and there's they're like, hey, do you want some water? Here's some bread. That's it. Like, you haven't even looked at the menu, and that's where we're at. But
to be honest, sometimes when you're eating the bread, it feels like it's going to be the best part of your night.
Oh yeah,
and
the bread's
then
great.
once the meal comes out, you get a whole new perspective. So
Yeah.
just you wait.
But basically, yeah, fill up on bread for sure, because the entree, like, there's a bit of a delay in the kitchen, so you'll be fine for the next song we put out. Anyway, point of this is to talk about Love is a Dying Plant, the new single, which you can go listen to wherever songs come out. We're going to do one of these for all the new singles we have coming out, plus we'll probably do some other episodes about past releases. We'll probably do one talking all about love, maybe interview some other bands we like, maybe interview some of the people that on our record that no one knows about yet. So that's a little hot tip for you. But yeah, so we're going to talk about Love is a Dying Plant today, so let's get into it.
So we started playing Love is a Dying Plant sort of the back end of the What It Is to Be cycle, say 3.5 years ago. First time we played it was at a show in Black Bear Lodge in Brisbane with Eat Your Heart Out and Reside, both incredible bands, one from Newcastle, one from Melbourne. Check them both out. Probably played it 5 or 6 times after that on separate shows with Drown This City and various other things. Every time we played it, we actually called it Choke because we didn't have a name yet, and we couldn't exactly call it Isaac's New Car, which was the demo name.
Yeah, that's how the song, this version of the song started. We got a instrumental demo sent through from Marcus called Isaac's New Car, because I think at the time Isaac had crashed and totaled his car, one of them, and yeah,
I think he hit your car was what happened.
that was yeah. Let's not go there. But yeah, so that's I guess how one of our writing processes as well. Marcus will kind of, because he's obviously not a vocalist, he brings his musical ideas to the table, and then depending on who's got vocal ideas or is vibing to the song, Dom and I will kind of pick and choose. And I think we actually had a different version of the song Dom wrote the lyrics to originally. Bit of a indie rock, slightly pop punk, but it was like kind of like two different songs in one, which is why we didn't use it, because both bits were kind of good on their own, but it didn't make a lot of sense together.
Well, weirdly enough, I wrote the entire lyrics and melody to that track, and they kind of fit, but then the verses weren't. They were a little bit clunky, and then I think eventually you actually said, hey, I really want you to try putting those lyrics over Isaac's New Car.
I can't remember saying that, to be honest.
I think you'd messaged me a few times, and I was like, yeah, maybe, but I was really attached to the way it sounded in the demo we called Nostalgia, so I was like, yeah, maybe, we'll see. And then on one particular day, I was just like, yeah, right, I'll try it. And it seemed to have this like really gritty vibe, and almost like the first time I sung it, I was like, oh, this sounds like a basement track.
Yeah,
So-
I remember actually we thought that at the beginning. I forgot that.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, okay, well, this is gonna work out. So we scrapped nostalgia, put it on the shelf for a little bit, and I moved all the lyrics over to Isaac's new car, and it became Joke, which became Love Is a Dying Plant.
Yeah, it felt like it just felt like a perfect song we should release and play, and I guess that's kind of why we started playing it very quickly, because we get a bit bored of things quite soon, so we just kind of want to move on to the new thing as quickly as possible, I guess. Also because of, content wise, that you want to share where you're at that time, rather than rehashing, stuff we did 2, 3, however many years ago. But
I will add that when we played it in the jam room the first time, we went, oh, this is going to be a really good live song. So that's why I kind of rushed it into the set. And while we love the What It Is to Be tracks, they definitely didn't suit like a tour with Drown This City, for example. So like a heavy band tour, and we didn't want to be playing all of our old EP songs. I mean, we play a bunch of them anyway, but we needed something to bring up the pace in between the slower and more melodic kind of takes we have from What It Is to Be.
Yeah, I think it was definitely one thing we realized is What Is to Be. It's very much a listening album with like on your own kind of thing. It's not a lot of our songs, I guess, are quite like that. We don't have that many upbeat banging live songs, but we do on the new album. But yeah, Love Is a Dying Plant just kind of felt like a great it just felt like a really great distillation of what we do. I think one thing we've kind of talked about with ourselves a fair bit is trying to get that kind of merge the gap between our more artistic-y, esoteric and just kind of like songs we want to write, and then songs people want to listen to are very different things. And I think with Love Is a Dying Plant, we really kind of got that good mix of, there's a lot of things going on, like that bridge is so good, and we kind of managed to fit a lot of the comfort into a 3-minute 34-second song, which I guess is a songwriting challenge for ourselves, kind of bringing that gap down, because we love the kind of long songs, but the challenge is kind of like not being so self involved, and I guess not just like we listen to a lot of 6-minute long songs, but that kind of era of music has gone a little bit.
I think having, like, when we finished Love Is a Dying Plant and having it there and something that we were playing, it was kind of like a light bulb moment for us of like, oh, we can move forward as a band in bringing those two aspects together, and it just kind of clicked that we can start writing in that way and actually merge the two worlds, and that is actually what the comfort can become. So it just gave us a clear path of our future and what we can do, and was probably somewhat pivotal into not quitting as a band.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was hard, I guess. I mean, it's kind of like the way music works all the time. It kind of, things, I guess, decide themselves. Like once one kind of era or cycle ends, or whatever the last release was, sometimes that informs what you're going to do next. Because like, I know the way we work, like when we did Love, I was kind of like, well, that's done. If you want to listen to that, go listen to it. But we don't want to write the same song 10 times and release 3 albums of the same song over and over and over and over and over. Like, I don't listen to the one style of music all the time. And like you'll see on this record, like the first 2 songs out compared to the third, and then this, I don't want to say how many things we've got going on, but there's different vibes, and I think that's a really important thing that people don't understand with music, is that it's not linear. It's, you don't go, okay, you don't progress heavier or softer. Like you can jump all over the shop. Like, we've got the heaviest song on this record, we've got the poppiest song on this record, we like doing everything. So like, just because what is to be was a certain thing doesn't mean anything, and just because this record is a certain thing doesn't mean the next one's like. We just do what we want, and that's what Love Is a Dying Planet was. It kind of decided, it's like, oh, okay, it kind of energized us in a way and gave a direction to move forward in. But yeah, I guess where did, I guess, what was the first line? Do you know what the first line for the song you wrote was?
Yeah, so I'll just get the lyrics up so that I don't make any mistakes here. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, I probably wrote the chorus first.
Mm-hmm.
I think it started with I really liked the analogy of the plant compared to the relationship and how it breathes, and you need to feed it and you need to like really tender and care for it. And I really liked the imagery of it as well, so I kind of worked all that out and wrote through the chorus first before going into. I think I actually had maybe that second verse, the health and happiness means trying, love details and goddamn smiling. I had that whole phrasing and the way I wanted to spit that out and say it. I think I had it in like a separate set of lyrics altogether, and once I wrote that chorus, I was like, oh, that fits with this as well, and it all just kind of like melted into one and became this idea of like, this is how I want to sing about this relationship.
Yeah, because sometimes when you're writing lyrics, it's very much just kind of stream of consciousness, just emotions. Sometimes it probably, like, you can be writing a thing where you think it's the same thing, but you go back and read and it's like, oh, these kind of two things don't exactly have the same concept behind them, but you can obviously tell it ended, like, there comes a point where you're like, oh, okay, I know what direction this is heading now.
Yeah, definitely.
And
so I actually wrote this over probably 6 months, where I had like maybe the chorus first and then the second verse, and then I think I wrote the bridge, and then I went back and wrote the first verse. So they were all written in different stages of my processing of the ending of a relationship, and I think it's almost reflected in the way that the song plays out and the song reads, because you get these feelings of bitterness at times and feelings of like sadness and mourning, but then there's so much relief into the back of the song, and I think it's like a way you can sort of talk about and sing about a fragile topic in the ending of a relationship without any disrespect for
I think definitely
itself.
reading it, well, I mean, I would say outside of yourself and maybe 2 other people, I would probably know the situation very well. But I think reading the lyrics itself, it's very much it's just, like, I think a lot of people always look for a side to take in situations, but sometimes, like, not everything is good or bad or has a thing. It's just this is the experience, like, and I think that kind of comes through in the song. Like, it's definitely not like a fuck you song or anything. It's just it's a processing of a situation, which, and the intertwining of yourself and another person is really, it's this really interesting thing our species does, where it's really, well, I mean, it's why we exist, but I think it's just it's kind of like potentially, I would say, my top 3 favorite lyrics. I think it's just very good. Like, I was reading
of all time.
Of all time, not even our songs.
Thank you very much.
No, but I was just reading them the other day and I was like, fuck, these are good. But like, especially like the bridge, and like, I was thinking about like, what were people thinking when they wrote these? Like, how did your brain go to the bridge lyrics where the, like, honey, the great divide between you and I is a symphony. I probably should have put the lyrics in front of me, but how did your brain get to those words, I guess?
some of it is very, very specific circumstances that I think I would be the only person to put the link through. Like, not even the other party in the relationship or anyone close to the situation at the time. Nothing, like, it's so specific that it doesn't make sense unless you know exactly, and nobody but me does.
Yeah, right.
So, like, without having, like, I like leaving the mystery out there for the listeners and for anyone that wants to read that and have their own interpretation to it. But I like to write a lot that has a very literal meaning and a very metaphorical meaning at the exact same time, because they have these both like parallel universes almost going on between, like, the symphony being a very specific event and it having this other
I mean, I guess that comes through quite well, because when I'm like reading things, I'm like, how my brain works is like, I guess my favorite things in, I guess, music or lyrics is, I think the point is you're trying to say something universal that everyone experiences, but you're trying to say, like, good songwriting is saying something that everyone experiences, but in a way that hasn't been said before. I think, like, that's kind of the point of writing a song, for me anyway. And, you know, that's what makes a song good. You're not just saying, I'm sad. You're saying, you're like, oh, okay, like, this means this guy's sad, but that's a really interesting way to put that. And for me, reading those lyrics, I'm like, how does a person get to writing those lines? Because it's such a, I think it's just fucking cool. But it's great imagery. I love Coronation Drive. I think I made you keep that in there as well.
Yeah, I was questioning it for a while. Yeah.
But I love really specific things that, I guess for us, like, or anyone that lives in Brisbane, like, everyone knows where that is. And for you, obviously, there was a very specific situation. But yeah, I love really specific personal references in songs. But what does choking just for the taste mean?
So, I like I was talking about before with the analogy between the plants and, like, the weeds, how the weeds kind of, like, I've always thought about this, there's this parable in the Bible actually about how the farmer that plants his crops and then the weeds come around and choke the plant until it dies. And I can't remember the specifics of the parable, to be perfectly honest, but I'm
telling Father Peter.
I liken the choking just for the taste to kind of the self-destructive nature of the end of a relationship sometimes, where you're aware of things that might be detrimental to the relationship, but you almost don't mind. You're like, well, I'm just going to test this boundary here and see what happens, because something's not working and there's stuff that needs to be said or conversations that need to happen. And I think how I've said, like, we've cut away the chance for love's replaced.
That was going to be my next question. Is that kind of like, does that kind of mean you've gone, there's like almost too much baggage to overcome? Yeah, exactly.
So I guess, like, going back to the plant analogy as well, and how you prune a plant to look after it, and you keep cutting away these parts until there's nothing left to build from. And, like, if you cut too much of the plant off, it's going to die. So that was really where that came from.
Yeah, sick. And I mean, now obviously you've got a budding plant obsession, so you've taken it very literally.
Sure.
I'm just looking through these lyrics a bit more. Oh, I think just for my brain, things I'm interested in, I think this is kind of just like a good kind of lesson outside of the band. I think one of the best things, and we talked about it personally kind of at the time, and I kind of actually just confirmed with you the other day, the first two lines in the song, if I just ran away, if I gave it all away, would you have followed, or would you stay inside the grey? Now, I think something that's really important, and I think it speaks to several different things. Like, I think one, it speaks to, a specific not trauma, but attachment things that a lot of people are experiencing. And you see it. I think one of the things I've been thinking about with our generation is we're kind of like one of the first generations where we're talking about psychological subconscious things in there's so many Instagram accounts or whatever now where it's just therapists and a really big thing, and it's been kind of ruined from what I can see on TikTok and shit, where everyone now has something which is there's good and bad bits. I think it has to still be done seriously. I think the most important thing with behavioral stuff is you can get to a destination different ways.
Yep.
But going back to the point without me doing a classic Liam, what I guess I just wanted, which may not be super obvious to people, but it's that what I would say is knowing what it is, and I'll let you actually talk in a second. It's that feeling you get at the, when a relationship is kind of ended, maybe not officially, but it's kind of in that, that there's that kind of gray area depending on the relationship, where it's both people might know it's going a certain way, it hasn't officially gone that way, maybe there's not a clear break as such, but then we get these emotional responses that can be caused by many different things, just our biology and our personal experiences. But I just wondered if you could say a bit more about kind of your thought process around the the introduction to the song.
Yeah, sure. So firstly, I was wondering where you were going for a while there.
So was I. It changed a few times.
But this is probably one part I'm happy to be a bit specific about, because it was about running away and giving up on artistic endeavors, meaning quitting the band, and saying, sort of asking the rhetorical question after the fact of, if I've left this, would this have worked? And kind of, I think I tried to put it into the emotion of the way I sang it, that I know it wouldn't have regardless, but I didn't say that explicitly. So what I'm trying to say is I knew that if I was to give up artistic endeavors, I wouldn't be happy and nothing would have worked.
Yeah.
So, and then to move on to the next part where I quote Death Cab for Cutie, if you didn't immediately realize, but
I did.
But I'm just talking about the grey as in this section of, I think in a lot of different mental states, there's a lot of black and white thinking, and I think there's dangers in that, but there's also dangers in just pandering around the grey area of not making any certain decisions one way or another. That's probably all there is to say about it, to be honest.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I just think it's a really important thing to kind of consciously recognize in people, because it's that thing where that it's gotten pretty popular where it's your emotions are valid. There's a big difference between all emotions have reasoning to them. It's whether, I guess, identifying if that reason is something that should be acted upon, and if it's kind of inflamed. Because I guess for you, the question for this first verse is, would it be worth making this massive sacrifice to save something else that may not even be working, but it's that personal human, there's so many things to it, but yeah, it's whether you should sacrifice something for someone else. But yeah, I think that's just a really universal thing.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I would have been sacrificing who I was to serve something that was making neither of us happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I there's I just don't know. I kind of want to ask you about every line. Is the second verse, are there references in there? Or have you just, like, I guess, health and happiness, love details, smiling?
Yeah, so there aren't any references in there. I did actually have a third section to it originally that like referenced a bunch of Chuck Palahniuk characters and stuff, and it just didn't end up.
I think I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, it just didn't end up fitting the overall theme of the song. It was about too much else to fit in, so I cut it right back to these. And I think that whole second section is just about what I felt or what I feel is working on yourself and trying to grow as a person.
Yeah.
And then realizing at the end of the day that also part of who I am is wanting to be a carer and care for people. Whether that is good or bad in separate situations is kind of up to the discretion of the person.
Yeah. I personally would want to delve a bit more into that, but probably
off air.
Yeah. I keep having to remind myself this is about the band and not me interrogating your psychological state. That's what I like to do. Because I guess we called this song Choke for so long. When were there any other titles that came to mind, or when did because I mean you talk about the, I guess, concept behind the song was kind of self-evident and informed the rest, but when did that title itself click into your mind?
I don't remember, to be honest. For the longest time, I was going to call it Choke. And I think what happened was I had this kind of like two sides of the same coin perspective on love and relationships that informed another song on the album. And I'm not going to give anything about the album away now, but they form like a back and forth.
Which title came first?
This one.
Okay.
Yeah. But the other one, maybe I shouldn't get into it.
I don't think it matters.
Okay, so the other one follows a similar metaphor of plants. So it kind of like, once I wrote that, I realized what this song should be called. And they were in no means like I didn't want to say like this is good and this is bad. It was just two separate songs that I happened to use the same style of analogy and metaphor, and they fit together in like I said, two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of perfect because I think it's really helpful in so many areas, but I think it's really helpful to think of ideas or relationships as kind of life forms of them into themselves, and like kind of a plant is kind of almost the perfect thing for a relationship, because you don't want to like a way too codependent relationship isn't good as much as you don't pour like 14 liters of water over a plant every day, because that thing will drown in that.
That's right.
And that's kind of, I think, a thing society is learning as a whole. I think we kind of were raised to think of the end goal of life is to complete yourself with a relationship.
Yeah, for
sure. I don't think it's even...
I think it's probably worth saying, and we'll probably talk about it in a later episode as well, but the relationship between plants and their surroundings is more important than you realize. And I think what this is, Love as a Dying Plant, is that at this stage of my life I hadn't figured out how much the plant or the relationship needs to rely on other living things. So like, for example, there's like the plants rely on a mycelium network underneath it to contact and work together with all of its surroundings. So
Okay, Paul Stamets.
On a later episode, we'll probably talk about how, I guess what I learned is how relationships need to be a team and a partnership a lot more than they are a codependent relationship, where like both of the parties need to be able to exist perfectly on their own before they can actually flourish together.
Just quickly to wrap things up. So last night, last minute, I was for some reason still awake at 12:30. I was like, oh, I should put a little question thing up on our Instagram to see if anyone has any questions. Probably shouldn't have done that at 12:30 at the back end of 20 other stories that we'd shared, but just checked quickly, and there's 2 that I thought I'd just bring up. So one is from Hang 10 Kid. Garrett looks to be from America. Despite the song's sadness, I still feel hope radiating from it nevertheless. Do you guys? So for me, I wouldn't say, I mean, as the listener, I would say it has, I don't know if it's hope, but I think it has a finality to it.
Yeah.
Would be what I would say is being picked up there. It's kind of like, it just feels like it's decided almost. Like it's not a...
I think it's positivity rather than hope.
Yeah.
I mean, read into it what you will.
Or even closure, maybe.
Closure. There's definitely hope for the future, but
Yeah.
I think overall it's not a negative breakup song.
No.
Which is what I like about it, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say it's
still
just
positive.
it's just a summation of a complicated situation, and it's not one of those songs where it's like, I want to get back with you, I miss you. It's like, this was full on for both of us.
Yeah.
And this is the ending of it. There's more to it, but there's in this specific isolated world of this song, I'd say it's like, that's done. There's no more, there's nothing lingering would be what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other one is, song is great. I love the chorus you put out in every song. Thank you. We're quite good at that. This is from The Flash, Austin. Don't know where he's from, but he said, where's the album? And I figured we probably should have actually said something a bit more on that earlier. I mean, I did talk about bread for a while there, but yeah, so I guess we wanted to put this song out. We got a classic comfort situation where we were about ready to smash it a couple months ago, and we got a last minute vinyl delay that kind of ruined our at that time plan, and instead of pushing things back for the 7th time, we're kind of like, we just want to put some music out. So that's why this song is out now, and because we just wanted to put music out. We'll have a bit of a rollout till more stuff is coming out, more news, but yeah, I'd say in the next 5 weeks or so it'll be pretty clear what we're doing. But this was just hey, we're back. Remember, we can write songs. I just wanted to say, hey, get stuff moving instead of just sitting there waiting. So, album's coming. It's very good. I would say, personally, there's at least 8 or 9 songs better than Love is a Dying Plant on the album.
Yeah.
I'm really stoked for the next one. That has a little video in it. We'll give you a little sneak peek of the next song at the end of this podcast, actually. But yeah, we should probably rough up instead of turning this into a 3-hour podcast.
Do we want to do the other question that came up from Isaac Calro?
Oh yeah, I think I've met that guy before. What did he say?
He said, "Why is it so shit?"
Oh,
So,
well, I'd say that's a subjective opinion, Isaac. I don't know. My extroversion talking energy's run out here. I don't have a joke for that. But Isaac's our drummer, by the way. I don't know if he actually likes our music. But how good are just quietly, I think the drums on this album are fucking sick. I think the drums and the bridge are fucking awesome with this song. But yeah, anyway, I need to stop talking. That's a new rule we need for this podcast. You need to snap me out of going on tangents.
Yeah, a little signal that'll cut you short.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, thank you so much for listening. We've got a lots of things coming up, which, yeah, just keep an eye on things. Please keep listening to Love is a Dying Plant, wherever it is.
So we're taking it on the road in June. We're going to playing our first shows since, I believe...
2019.
Yeah, October 2019. So if you can come out and see us, we're doing a whole tour with Waxflower for the Tour of What Went Wrong tour for their EP, which came out. Check that out as well, because it's
very
sick.
good.
For fans of pop punk, MySpace pop punk, and
emo.
Kiss Chasey.
I've been thinking about it's there's a lot of, it's like that EP, it's like a candle, right? You know, when you buy a candle, it has like the top sense, middle sense, and base sense. Like,
okay.
I'd say for Waxflower, the top sense, the thing that hits you is that MySpacey thing. And then when you actually listen to it, especially the choruses, the choruses are like really amazing for me melody wise. The ring chorus, the soak chorus, the Misaligned Love is potentially my favorite song on the record. But there's a lot of depth to the songs that you kind of need to give yourself a minute to be drawn into. But it's definitely not a shallow or
not at all
kind of pop punk band. But it's an amazing record. You should check it out. We're stoked to hear Waxflower every night.
Check them out, learn their songs, learn our songs.
Yeah.
Come and sing with us, come and hang out with us.
We're
going to be in Sydney at Wayward's on Saturday, June the 4th. Then we go to Melbourne on Friday, June 17th at Gasometer upstairs. And then we're coming home to Brisbane on June 18th, Saturday at Black Bear Lodge. That's actually my partner's 32nd birthday, so come celebrate.
Lucky girls. But yeah, like these will be our first shows in so long. So hopefully we remember how to play our instruments. I'm gonna have to go back to listen to Love and Other Drugs to remember how to play that song. But yeah, we'll be playing some new ones on this tour too. Probably the next single, and Hargens. So Nick Hargens, who takes all our photos and filmed our upcoming videos. He plays guitar for Waxflower as well. And he messaged me the other day saying we have to play Bloom, which is a song you guys will hopefully become familiar with soon.
I'd love to play that.
Yeah, I think it's a great tour to play Bloom on. You guys are not ready for Bloom in probably good and bad ways. Compared to the first two songs, it's not going to make much sense, but it's so good. That would be the one thing. Just, I think I've said that. Don't assume what this record's going to be from the first song or two songs, and then don't assume again after the third song. You know, this is.
It's a mixed bag in the best way possible.
Yeah, and it's. I think it's the best thing we've done. I think it's easily Dom's best songwriting work. I think he nailed this one. So did Marcus and Izzy. I don't know. I don't know if I did that, but
I think so.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, that's it. We're the Comfort. This is our first attempt at this. Hopefully it was all right. But
if we waffle on, let us know. We'll cut as much out as we can. And
I'm just going to cut all your parts out, so it's just me talking to myself. Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys so much. We'll put another episode up soon. Tell us what you want to hear, what you want us to talk about. And yeah, thank you so much. This is our next single.